Many of our communities in the Delta have just been beaten down for decades now because they've seen things deteriorate.
DeWitt is a small rural town in southeast Arkansas. It's a friendly little town. Everybody knows most everybody. Our population is just under 3,300.
If you get in an airplane and fly over DeWitt, it's a little town with a bunch of houses and it's farm ground all the way around it.
If you drove off the interstate, you'd be driving a long time before you got to DeWitt. And every once in a while, you see a small cluster, a cute little downtown, and businesses that are struggling to serve a population that is actually declining. But what you don't see as you're driving by these communities is this rich entrepreneurial fiber. Agriculture is the predominant economy in the Delta. Most of the products that are grown here, other than rice, are processed elsewhere. You don't have those additional forms of wealth that come through jobs that are engaged in processing or canning or distribution or anything else that could otherwise happen. We wanted to build a new economy and then plug entrepreneurs into that new economy. We want those entrepreneurs to be in the community, from the community, so that whatever profit they make circulates in that community.
They don't always have the access to the resources and to the people that they need to make things happen. And so that's part of the role that we play as coordinator, is being able to connect them to these partners that they wouldn't otherwise have a relationship with.
There had been, right here in DeWitt, a biofuel initiative around soybeans at a time when soybeans were affordable, and suddenly they were no longer affordable.
I've been involved in studying bioenergy cropping systems for the last 7 years. And while I was looking at different crops that could be grown, I came across a crop called camelina. About a dozen farmers are going to be planting camelina, and then in the spring we'll harvest that camelina. It will be crushed into oil, and that oil will be refined into biodiesel here in DeWitt. The agronomic part of this project has been funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture through a capacity building grant, and this grant has really helped us to be able to continue to do agronomic research.
One of our partners actually had identified Valero, who is has a large blending facility in Memphis. We also need local demand that's going to be patient. And I'll be honest, that's why we're in DeWitt. Because when we began to explore what does local demand really mean, we came across the mayor of DeWitt, and he said, in the very first meeting we ever had with him was, look, if you do this here, I will buy every drop you produce.
When it gets to capacity, we'll be looking at fueling maybe the school district buses, which we have one of the longest routes in the state.
And so that we could grow this to a place where we could eventually supply Valero. So we had the demand piece figured out.
We could plant it in the fall and in October, and then we could harvest it in May. And the advantage of that is we're not competing against the main crops here, which are rice and soybeans, and particularly soybeans.
We're actually adding production by utilizing acres that are currently not being utilized during the wintertime.
If we can get another crop that they can grow in the fall, then that's more money they make. And that money gets spread around through the community, you know.
We would look primarily at minority-owned farmers, but also other small-scale farmers that need another winter, or that need a winter crop period, to just be able to make a little bit more money. We found a farmer who's also very engaged in conservation work, who understands how to provide technical assistance to small-scale farmers, and we hired him.
One of my jobs as an agronomist is to help farmers to understand the dynamics of growing this particular crop. And one of the other part of my job is to reach out and find people that's interested in being involved on the cutting edge of a new initiative.
I've always been interested in trying to produce something on the farm that we could actually use and use for fuel for our own consumption.
What we decided very quickly was, because the crop is still experimental, is we needed a second input, and that was waste vegetable oil.
This building sat abandoned for about 5 years. It was a defunct fuel storage, so we bought it, and at the time of buying it, I was approached by an ag consultant to try something new. They want to start turning waste vegetable oil into biodiesel.
They just back up here with their trucks and pumps, and they pump it out of the
the barrels into what they got on their truck, and then they leave, and sometimes we don't even know they're even here. You're going to get rid of it, and 90% of the time you're not going to make any money off of it anyway. Give back to the town where you can.
We process 100 gallons at a time. We put it into this little springboard biodiesel refinery. Then once we start the process, it's totally automatic. You just punch the button start and we're through with the process as far as working. The finished product looks very much like sweet tea. It has a much more oil base than diesel, and it burns hotter. So that therefore has more energy than a gallon of diesel. With all the oil coming out of the community, with all the product going back in the community, that's dollars that keep circulating in our town that we all get to use.
And now he's built, a restaurant on that site, and there's all this new activity that people are able to point to say, wow, it can really be done here.
The renewable energy is exciting, and it involves several different technologies, which would maybe inspire our young people to come back to something that they feel is important. I have 2 boys that they love the region anyway because of the hunting and the fishing, and they want to be involved in agriculture. And so this gives them another opportunity through agriculture to become involved in if they wish, but it also provides more opportunity for those who may not have a family background in farming.
But they're coming back with business experience, with technical skills, and now we're beginning to help them figure out how to start businesses. I'm real hesitant to come up with the model and say, we'll do it here. Because every community is so unique. It's that intentionality that we want to bring to every single community, and not try to have a cookie-cutter approach that we say, if you want to be a successful community, you need to be like the folks 50 miles down the road. It's just not going to work in the Delta.
This focus and spotlight that's on DeWitt around the value chain work is helping to create that positive image that the Delta needs. And as this replicates and the energy and the momentum spread, I think we'll see a lot more opportunities spring from this, and a pride and a positive attitude come back to the Delta.
You got to have people that are willing to take a little bit of a chance and take the risk to be a part of something that they can see that there is a future in.
We've created 40 jobs in the last year or so, so there's things happening.
The way we have identified scale is 25 communities equals 25 micro-refineries equals 75 new businesses with at least 100 to 150 new jobs. We're not going to stop till we get there.